China is threatening Taiwan citizens with the death penalty and pushing other countries to actively support Taiwan's so-called reunification with the mainland. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Real quick, before I begin, 5 years ago, Matt Shelley and I were in Hong Kong, watching 2 million people march through the streets to protest the Hong Kong government and ultimately the CCP. So to commemorate it, China Uncensored is partnering with the Hong Kong Democracy Council to create the first ever digital Hong Kong Lenin Wall, a place for people around the world to show their support for Hong Kongers by writing digital post-it notes of support for Hong Kong. Again, that website is hkleninwall.com. I'll leave a link below. We built this site with a team of security experts. It's completely anonymous. It does not track cookies or any other personal information. It does not store IP addresses. Our goal is to get 10,000 unique posts by the end of June to show Hong Kongers that the world hasn't forgotten them. If you've already signed, thank you, and please ask your friends and family to sign as well. And now, on to the rest of the show. Chinese leader Xi Jinping has made it clear that he will stop at nothing to quote-unquote reunify Taiwan with China, all while simultaneously insisting that Taiwan is already a part of China. Isn't doublespeak fun? Of course, none of that is true. Taiwan, the Republic of China, was never a part of the People's Republic of China. And the PRC has absolutely no power over Taiwan or Taiwanese citizens. But since when has the CCP let something as trivial as reality get in its way? So now China is threatening the death penalty for die-hard Taiwan separatists. Yes, even in Taiwan. Last week, China's Supreme People's Procuratorate, Ministry of Public Security, Ministry of National Security, and Ministry of Justice jointly issued a statement telling courts and prosecutors at all levels in China that they should severely punish Taiwan independence diehards for the crimes of splitting the country and inciting separatist crimes. Yes, you heard me correctly. China is trying to punish Taiwanese citizens in Taiwan with the death penalty through the Chinese legal system. I don't think there's a word for that level of delusion. The goal is to resolutely defend national sovereignty, unity, and territorial integrity. And the delusion sails obliviously onwards. This comes just a month after new Taiwanese President William Lai took office. The directive targets anyone working to further formal statehood for a Taiwanese republic, including holding a referendum, promoting the island's membership in international organizations, or colluding with foreign forces to promote independence. So what constitutes colluding with foreign forces to promote independence? Who knows? Vague definitions are the CCP's bread and butter. They allow for swift justice. According to the directive, anyone who takes part in a pro-independence organization or helps to finance its activities can face imprisonment for 10 years or even life, depending on the particulars of the crime. So what do you have to do to get the death penalty? You have to be one of those who cause particularly serious harm to the state and the people, and whose circumstances are particularly heinous. Oh, thank goodness. With an explanation that specific, I'm sure there's no confusion to be had, and no way this would ever be abused. Of course, if you voluntarily and truthfully confess your crimes, acknowledge the facts, and show that you're willing to accept punishment, perhaps you'll be treated leniently. Wow, how comforting. The law doesn't just cover people in Taiwan. It supposedly covers people everywhere in the world. Even presenting Taiwan as independent in the fields of education, culture, history, and news media can get you in trouble. Guess I'd better watch my back. Chances are I'd be tried and found guilty, and I wouldn't even have to attend my own trial to find out, because the guidelines allow trial in absentia. Glad I don't have to waste my time attending. Hopefully I don't get stuck with a bill from my absent lawyer. Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council denounced the directive, calling it an extremely uncivilized and crude provocation. It said the Beijing authorities have absolutely no jurisdiction over Taiwan, and the CCP's so-called laws and norms have no binding force on our people. To which the CCP probably responded by fake arresting them and finding them guilty. Uh-oh. By saying that, did I just get fake time added to my fake sentence? Taiwanese President Lai himself gave his 2 cents, saying democracy is not a crime. It's autocracy that is the real evil. China has absolutely no right to sanction Taiwan's people just because of the positions they hold. What's more, China has no right to go after Taiwan people's rights across borders. But they spent so much money. Can they just go after a few people's rights across borders as a treat? In all seriousness, though, as delusional as all this sounds, it's delusional with a purpose. This is just one of many examples of China's long-arm enforcement of its laws beyond its own borders. The Hong Kong national security law also applies to everyone anywhere in the world. But more than just that, it's China's way of waging legal and psychological warfare to scare Taiwan into submission. If they really want to scare Taiwan, instead of all this legal bluster and military chest-puffing, they should just tell them how much bacteria is on the human body at all times. Whatever you think it is, it's 1,000,000 times more. Sleep tight. This also sets the stage to justify its conquest of Taiwan, both domestically and abroad, and to give the death penalty to anyone who stands in their way. But this new law isn't the only way China is setting the stage for a Taiwan takeover. There's also been a subtle yet major change in its dealings with other countries. Historically, China has insisted that other countries that want to deal with China support a one China policy that recognizes the People's Republic of China as the sole legal government representing both China and Taiwan, despite, reality. But something has changed. China is now pressing global leaders to specifically declare their support for Taiwan reunification. A one China recognition is no longer sufficient for Beijing's top leaders. My favorite Chinese state-run media, the Global Times, says the Republic of Nauru issued a statement asserting support for both the one China policy and reunification. And according to Chinese state-run media Xinhua, the Irish Prime Minister told Premier Li Qiang back in January this year that he hopes that China will achieve peaceful reunification at an early date. You'd think Ireland would be on the side of a smaller island fighting against a more powerful nation trying to control them, but hey, why learn history when you can just repeat it? It has become increasingly common for countries to say that they support China in achieving national reunification in state meetings. As retired U.S. Air Force Foreign Area Officer Guermont's G-Man Lailari, whom we've had on the show, points out, China is making these countries say all that to justify a Chinese takeover of Taiwan.
What they're doing is they're setting up the case that if and when China invades, nobody, based on this wording, can say anything to counter it. Because if they do, they'll say, look, you signed this, you agreed with us, so what, shut up. It's not just we recognize that Taiwan is part of China. It's actually another step where the government has to support China against anybody who interferes.
They're using the most deadly weapon of war there is, semantics, one that's used by lawyers in and out of absentia. China is desperate to make resistance seem futile and dangerous, but cowering in fear to it will lead to even more danger. That's why we need your support. Join me in the chance to show the CCP that we're not afraid. One way you can do that is by visiting hkleninwall.com and leaving a post-it note for Hong Kong. Doing this project and this whole show would not have been possible without the support of viewers like you. On the crowdfunding website patreon.com/China Uncensored. You can contribute however much you want, but it could be even as little as $1 an episode. Every bit helps. It's what makes projects like the Digital Lenin Wall possible. The CCP is taking notice. That's why Chinese state-run media has called China Uncensored disgraceful anti-China garbage. So join what I call the China Uncensored 50-cent army on Patreon. As a thank you to everyone who gives on Patreon, I'll respond to one of your questions or comments at the end of these episodes. Today's comes from Insider. That is awesome news. Have you been guests on Timpool/Timcast yet? If so, what was the date of that? Insider is responding to a message I sent to everyone on Patreon that I can now tell everyone watching here. Just last week, Shelly and I got interviewed by the people over at Louder with Crowder. Don't know when that video will come out, but I'll keep you posted. So, will we be on Timcast? Actually already been on. Twice. I'll put links to those below if you want to watch. I also have another video I'd like you to watch. This one. I'm trying to get around YouTube's censorship by hiding controversial topics in gaming content. In Elden Ring Shadows of the Erd Tree, the world is run by aging political leaders who have been in charge forever and demand utter loyalty and faith in them, while making the people of the land fight each other. Yeah, I wonder if there's anything to say about modern America. Just click here and check it out. So thank you for your question and your support, Insider. Thank you for watching. Just click on that orange button to join Insider on Patreon. I'll see you there. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching China Uncensored.